Whitman was here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's on the corner of Bridge Boulevard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can't do Perrone, you
Okay.
can't
I
do
didn't.
Erickson.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
Oh, okay.
three existing parcels
Okay.
and make it two. Well, that's
Still works.
enlarging
Okay.
to be able to
I don't
build.
like to use it. Oh, wow. Okay.
Unless there's opposition.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Will it, when you open the box, it should.
I'm not super concerned about that, are
You
you?
mean this breaker broke?
Conway.
Yeah.
It's number 18. You might want to write internet next to it.
All right, let's go. You ready?
Well, if you go back a citizen, everything back there was 50-foot lots.
If that.
Good evening and welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of March 28th, 2023. We're to begin with the short prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father in heaven, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Give us unity of spirit, even when our opinions differ. Help us to listen politely to other points of view and to remember that we are all a part of the same community. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path in the best interests of our city. We ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First application tonight is Perrone, application for special subdivision plat approval and variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by John Perrone. The applicant is requesting to subdivide the parcel into 3 new parcels of land. Lot 1 will need variances of 7.04 feet, resulting in 92.96 feet to the lot width on the south side, 30.19 feet, resulting in 69.81 feet to the lot width on the west side, 2,881.88 square feet, resulting in 9,118.12 square feet to the lot area. Lot 2 will need variances of 9 feet, resulting in 91 feet to the lot width, and 5,050.29 square feet, resulting in 6,949.71 square feet to the lot area. Lot 3 will need variances of 50 feet, resulting in 50 feet to the lot width, and 6,898.24 square feet, resulting in 5,101.76 square feet to the lot area. The property is located at 119 Skyline Drive, parcel 135R-0-46-039.000, 1 through 4th block, Shoreline Estates, Units 5. The property is zoned R1 Single Family District. Is the applicant here tonight? Can you come speak on his behalf? Just state your name and address for the record for us.
Hey.
Can you come up to this podium
Come
for
to
us?
the podium.
We're recording and broadcasting the meeting, so for everyone to hear. I've got
You want to repeat that question?
Can you just explain a little bit about why you're asking for the variance
Yeah.
and about the subdivision of the lots?
Yeah, I'm John Hall. I'm representing Mr. Perrone, who couldn't be here tonight. He's owned lots 1, 2, 3, 4 for about 8 years. He bought this property April 2015. He's found that taking care of that large amount of space, which is vacant, that he mows it himself, he's getting too old. So he wants to parcel this off, sell 2 lots, and then still remain in the home that he has on Skyline. He urges that you approve that variance so he could get on with his business.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I thought his house was currently, it looked from the map that it was on lot 4. Is
Correct.
that incorrect? Okay.
Right, yes.
So my question is, why do we need the subdivision with lot 3 to go to that 50-foot width? Like, why isn't he doing this administratively with just 2 lots by
Yeah.
right?
Because we've got to give him there's boat dock that he had built and comes over onto the lot. Right. So we're giving a portion of that lot 3 to add on to lot.
That's not what this is requesting unless I'm misunderstanding it. We're asking to divide that one parcel into 3 separate parcels, even though his existing home is on lot 4, correct?
Correct. He's keeping lot 4 and lot 3. Lot 3
So
has
why
a-
wouldn't he keep those combined?
we wanted to keep them combined. We were told by
Am I misunderstanding?
Jeremy to split those.
Wait, is this on?
Yeah, the home is actually on,
So,
partially on lot 3 also.
this is
It's
a-
not exclusively on lot 4.
This is the discussion we had, and whenever he came to me with the plat, he had all these. He says there's a house on lot 4 that he wants to go put lot 3 in with lot 4. My thought was he gets it all surveyed together, but he just had these surveyed because only these are the boundaries going to get changed. I guess in theory, or what would happen is it gets divided, interest lot, parcel 4, part of lot 3 parcel is going to get absorbed into lot 4,
No,
correct?
lot 2.
Lot 2.
Correct.
So what he's breaking off, you'll have the. Because right now it's all, but I see what you're saying. The question would be is why
Why
is
would
he
we go
making
through all
3
this?
lots?
Why wouldn't we just do this by right? Have everything conforming? If lot 3 is gonna stay with lot 4 anyway.
Well, it still wouldn't be conforming.
Well, we just move lot 3 to be a little bit smaller to get the other 2 lots conforming, correct? Cause then you could meet the square footages requirements and the,
Because lot 1 would still not. This is R1? Yeah, this is R1. So lot 1,
just needs 100 feet and we're at 92.
no,
point-
it would need about 3,000 square feet. Lot 2 would need 5,000 square feet. And if you combine 4 and lot 3 and 4, I don't know what 4 is. My assumption would be it would be technically short.
Just looked like there's enough from lot 3 that could be absorbed into the other 2 to make them conforming. That's my only concern is why are we gonna leave with a
Like,
50-foot?
I guess
lot.
what you're trying to say is, let's say you have a house on lot 4,
Mm-hmm.
then you add lot 3 to it, and then they would split lot 2, where half of that lot 2 would go with the house and half would make it. That could probably be done administratively. I would assume would probably meet all the size wise. But making it 3, there was the
That's
numbers
just my
weren't-
thought process, because if we make it 3, there's no guarantee that it gets quick claim to lot 4.
Yeah.
It could be sold by itself. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I put
From
one
the-
up there for.
Yes, I have several questions that I need to ask. I'm a resident of Garden Isle, so I'm very
Yep.
familiar with this property. And the home, when I look at the geoportal, the home does fall partially on lot 3. Lots 3 and 4 together would be 100 feet on the street by 100 feet deep. That's the proper size lot for an R1 neighborhood. I think you need to combine lots 1 and 2 as a single lot. That would be a buildable lot also. I've lived in Garden Isle for the last 13 years, and by far 90 to 95% of the homes that have been built since I'm living there are on larger lots, and they're very large homes, nice homes. Lot 2 is non-conforming. It's only 26 feet on the water. That's not a buildable lot. Somebody will be coming back to us and asking for variances because the house won't fit on that small lot.
Sir, the lot is sold. We have those lots under contract. The 26 feet on the water is a boathouse.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking at
The
that.
boathouse is going with lot 2.
Well, just because you sold it don't mean that
Yep.
it's an acceptable lot. It's a non-conforming lot, and I can't support it.
You can support a lot 1 and 2 as one lot?
Yes, I could support that.
So we have to redo that, have it resurveyed, and come back and do this again. Is that correct?
Well,
Well, we're gonna get through the meeting and we're gonna let all the neighbors talk. I have some petitions here
Yep.
and probably, I think did people sign up to
I
speak
think
as
I
well?
gave you one. I think one person signed up.
Oh, okay, sorry. I do have a petition here. It says, "We are contacting you regarding the hearing on March 28th, 2023 as it relates to the application of John Perrone. The applicant is asking to divide one lot into 4 lots. The existing home falls on lots 3 and 4. Lot 2 will only have 26.86 feet on the water and 91 feet on the street and require a variance of 5,050 feet to the total size of the lot. That will result in a non-conforming lot, approximately 1/2 the size required for an R1 single-family size lot. A lot that small does not fit into the surrounding lots in the area, and we fear that a building on that size lot would serve to reduce the property value of our neighborhood. We are asking that the application be denied, and I have 11 signatures on here from Skyline Drive, Deer Drive, and Riverview Drive. And then I have some people in the audience signed up to speak. Mr. John Hall.
That's me.
Oh, sorry.
So we'll let the next person speak.
Oh, yes. Barry Daniel. Yes. You're not forced to if you didn't mean to. Yes. Thanks.
Well, like I said, my name's Barry Daniel Nazowski. I own property and received something in the mail. I've never been to one of these meetings. I don't know really what I'm here for.
It's just to make you aware that there's a variance being requested, and that if you support it or you're opposed to it, then you can voice your opinion at this meeting. So we're a recommending body, and then this decision will go on to city council, and they'll have the final say of whether or not the variance is approved.
Okay. So it's about a block away from my the 4 lots that I own. So I don't have an opinion one way or another. It's where I think I stand.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else in the audience for or against the application that would like to speak? Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the applicant.
Motion by Mr. Weber to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Osborne. All those in
Wait,
favor?
wait,
Oh, sorry.
To make it more clear, just for our record, I don't know if it's possible that if you vote to accept and just say no, just so it's easier for the minute, would that be easier? Okay,
No.
never mind.
No, we gotta go.
All
We
right.
gotta vote
Never mind,
yay or
sorry.
nay based on the motion.
Gotcha.
So
never
the
mind.
motion was to deny. Motion by Mr. Weber, second by Mr. Osborne. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes, so the variance is denied. Please be present at the next city council meeting. It will be Tuesday, April 4th at 5:30 PM in this room. Jeremy, can you give me an updated agenda?
Yeah.
I have Conway next. No, I have Bernard next. The Conway has been withdrawn, if anybody was here for that. Next application is Bernard Construction, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Bernard Construction. Applicant intends to build a 2-story restaurant, therefore requesting a variance of 22 feet, resulting in 3 feet to the front yard setback fronting on Court Street. The property is located at 200 South Beach Boulevard, parcel 149L-0-29-097.001, Part 1, Block 2, Bay Hotel Subdivision. The property is zoned C1, Central Business District.
And just for record, so Bernard Construction, it just named the applicant, but this site plan came before probably 2 years ago with the same variance. It just, so I don't know who was on it. This was before my time. It was already passed, but the variance expired. So same project coming back before, but not to say. So if it looks familiar, it's because,
We had already approved it.
yeah,
I don't think it even was 2 years ago.
it was barely.
No, we did this like a year ago.
I know, it feels like, unless time's flying. But yes, would you like to come up and speak a little bit
Shane
about the
Bernard,
application?
Bernard Construction. My partner and I, Craig Bordelon, is here as well. So what we want to do is we're going to do a 2-story restaurant and bar. These plans were drawn very well by Leah Waters. She does amazing work. And they were submitted about a year ago. When the property came up for sale, Craig and I spoke to the real estate agent, and they said that they had already had plans drawn, engineering work done, probably $40,000, $50,000 of work done, which was very enticing to us. So we made our offer on the property, contingent on it being reapproved. It was approved, I think, in January of 2022. So long story short, we're hoping to have it reapproved. We've already been through the historic commission with the same exact plans. We aren't changing anything, and you know, if the council says, if you have to say the same today, and council's on board next week, we want to bring dirt in the next day.
And nobody, so this first one is for the variance, the second motion would be for the
For
site
the
plan.
site plan review.
All right,
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Anyone in the audience for or against the application? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Ag to approve. Is there a second, Mr. Morano, seconds? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to the second one since you're up there. Bernard Construction Site Plan Review for a restaurant. The property in question is located at 200 South Beach Boulevard and Court Street and is identified on the Hancock County land rolls as parcel number 149L-0-29.097.001 and described as Part 1, Block 2, Bay Hotel Subdivision. The property is zoned C1 Central Business District. So now we're doing the site plan review. There's a copy.
and then for the site plan review, everybody signed off. So drainage, zoning, everything's fine with it. There's not gonna be any contingencies on it, so.
It had already gone through all the channels and everybody.
But we re-looked at it again, but
Yes,
you said aye,
just
it's
because
still
we
fine.
expired, right?
Yeah, because it was 2021, not 2022.
Any comments or questions from the audience? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Osborne, second by Mr. Ag. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting, Tuesday, April 4th, 5:30 PM in this room.
Thank y'all very much. Hopefully we'll see y'all at the restaurant before summer's over with.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, give me a call tomorrow.
Okay, next one is Ramm Real Estate LLC, application for site plan review for a restaurant submitted by Ramm Real Estate LLC. The property in question is located at 108 Court Street and is identified on the Hancock County land rolls as parcel number 149L-0-29.095.000. In the legal description as 3 Block 2 Bay Hotel Subdivision, the property zone C1 Central Business District. Go.
So they proposed to put a restaurant application. We need minor site plan approval,
Yeah, so.
so that's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's under 5,000 square feet. Not building, zoning, fire, and Public Works looked at it. It's all checked out, all the boxes. I think he has the plans ready for review, but we've all signed off on all parts of it. So once y'all make y'all's decision tonight, then it'll be, this is the last hurdle besides building department looking at the actual construction documents, but.
Looked good to me. Did anyone, any of the commissioners have any comments or questions? Anybody in the audience for or against the application that would like to speak? Or any comments about the site plan? My only thing was about the tree, but I see they called out for it to be protected during construction and everything like that. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Weber. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting, April 4th at 5:30 PM.
Thank you.
Next, on the agenda is Wendel, application for special exception and variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Catherine Wendel. The applicant is requesting a special exception to convert a detached accessory structure into an accessory dwelling in the rear of the primary dwelling. If granted, the applicant will need variances of 3 feet resulting in a 5-foot setback to the side yard, a variance of 12 feet resulting in an 8-foot setback to the rear yard, and a variance of 1,248 square feet resulting in 13,752 square feet to the lot area. The property is located at 312 St. John Street, parcel 149L-0-29-082.00088, Second Ward, Bay St. Louis, AA 7, 1-429. The property lies in 2 zoning districts, R2, 2-family district, and R3, multifamily district. Is the applicant here tonight? Yes, ma'am. Can you come up and state your name and address and tell us a little bit more about why you're asking for this special exception?
Good evening. My name is Catherine Wendel, and I own the property at 312 St. John Street in Bay St. Louis. Purchased the property about 6 months ago, and I'm thrilled to be a homeowner in Bay St. Louis after visiting here for many, many years from New Orleans. The property has a detached unit in the backyard that's not visible from the street, and the intent is to convert that to a dwelling unit and kind of reorient the entrance to the dog leg portion of the yard. The parcel is an L-shaped lot.
The only question I had is what purpose is it serving right now? Is it a storage shed or is it a carport?
Like
What-
a
I couldn't really
workshop.
see. Okay.
I would say.
So does it already have power and everything to it?
It does not have power.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? I've got letters for and against and sign-up list for the audience. So let me read through some of these. The first one is Charles Luley. It is fine with Kate doing in the rear of her property at 312 St. John. My wife and myself live at 313. She explained everything to us. Charles and Natalie
Nat-
Lu- is it Nat?
Natalie.
Natalie Louie. To the Bay St. Louis P&Z Committee. In the past few months, I've appeared before the P&Z and City Council to object to other applications that requested the privilege of building an accessory dwelling on a parcel of land that does not meet the BSL zoning requirement of being of at least 15,000 square feet in size. The Wendel application regards converting an existing accessory structure into an accessory dwelling, but this still does not negate the requirement that the parcel be at least 15,000 square feet. Although the Hancock County Tax Assessor's Office shows this parcel as being 15,186.28 square feet, the survey presented by the applicant clarifies that the actual square footage of the parcel is only 13,752 square feet. The Wendel parcel does not meet the essential requirement of being at least 15,000 square feet in size. The big question is, can the P&Z and the city grant a variance to the reduction of that 15,000 square foot requirement? I do not believe it is allowed at all according to the BSL zoning ordinance, which clearly states, section 1305.3H, the variance is not a request to permit a use of land, building, or structure which is not permitted by right or by special exception in the district involved. Section 1002.6.b, only one accessory dwelling unit is permitted per lot in districts where allowed on lots of more than 15,000 square feet. There was some wisdom and forethought involved when this minimum square footage requirement was included in the ordinance back in 2011. Today, that requirement is even more important as people continue to overbuild on lots that do not meet the minimum requirement. I beseech you to uphold the intent and integrity of the zoning ordinance and deny this application for the sake of all property owners in our city. Sincerely, Kathleen Monty, 105 Sycamore Street. Wait. I'm going to save that one for Curry. Dear Mr. Burke, my wife and I were contacted by Kate Wendel, owner of 312 St. John Street, asking that we contact you regarding a requested variance to allow her to convert a workshop in her backyard into a residence. Please know that my wife and I are unequivocally opposed to such a variance being granted. Variances such as this set precedents for future requests, and the possible unintended consequences are unacceptable to us. Our quiet street is already becoming somewhat crowded, and we do not want the privacy of our home to be encroached upon. Can you please tell me when and where the meeting for this variance will be held? Sincerely, yours, Greg Parker, 314 St. John Street. Good morning, Caitlin. I live at 309 St. John Street, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and received the public notice about the Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning Commission holding a meeting about special exception and variance at 312 St. John Street. Bay St. Louis. I will not be able to make the meeting since I travel weekly for work. If there is a vote on this topic, I would like to vote against it. Should you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Thank you. Regards, Orrin Steiner. I don't think I have an address for that one. I have a list from the audience. Ashley Parker, 314 St. John. Yes, ma'am.
If you want to have a seat.
My husband and I live at 314 St. John, and also today, a neighbor dropped it to my mailbox. The letter of opposition.
Let me read that into the record. Is their address on here?
Yes, they're 311.
Okay. Says, to whom it may concern, please be advised that we are against the application for special exception and variance submitted to this commission by Catherine Wendel for 312 St. John Street, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Marshall and Barbara, is it Royals?
Yeah,
311 St. John Street. Yes, ma'am. You can continue.
okay. Thank y'all for letting me speak. We are the adjacent property owner to this building. I brought a picture to show y'all too, if you want that, just to get the proximity. This is our house, and this is the shed. We purchased our home 4 years ago, and it took us a while to pick a home based on my husband's profession. He's an ER doctor, and he worked at Hancock County Hospital right here. And so he sleeps a lot. He has to work night shifts, sleeps during the day. So we picked a quiet neighborhood, and we knew that this building was there, but it was a shed with no electricity. And so that was part of our decision-making in purchasing the home. You know, we knew it couldn't be converted into a dwelling, and so that was part of our decision. And we would ask that y'all would consider denying this variant because we feel like it would disrupt our quality of life. And it's not a hardship. It's something, you know, the homeowner purchased the house knowing that that was something that couldn't be done. And we don't really see a reason, a hardship or a reason why it should be changed. And we're also worried about, as my husband stated in that email, other developers coming in, and once you grant a variance for a minimum lot size and setbacks, then you have more and more development. And we do have a quiet street, and that's part of why we picked the location we did, was because of that. And so we'd ask that y'all would deny the variance on those grounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Ms. Kathleen Monty, 105 Sycamore. Okay. Ms. Katie, I can't read your last name, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Katie Gift, and I live at 317 St. John Street. I'm very good friends with the Parkers. I've been on St. John. I bought my property in 2002, so I've seen a lot of development on St. John where there's been separation of parcels, making smaller lots, and we have seen more congestion. And in talking to Dr. Parker, I feel that if this would go through, it'd be a significant inconvenience for them and impact their quality of life just for the benefit of one person. So in order to support the Parkers and to try to increase construction on our street, I'm opposing this application.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Any comments or questions from the commissioners? I would just like to personally say that I'm just not for accessory dwellings in R1s when we don't even meet the minimum requirement. I agree with what was said tonight a lot about setting the precedent. We get asked this all the time. In fact, St. John Street specifically, I was talking to someone this morning about how bad the traffic is. It becomes almost impossible to get through when all the boats and cars and everybody's here for the summer, possibly due to the overdevelopment and the granting of probably too many variances. So that's just my opinion on it. But I'll entertain a motion if no one else has anything to say.
I'll make a motion to deny the application.
Motion to deny by Mr. Osborne, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. The application is denied. Please be present at the next city council meeting, Tuesday, April 4th at 5:30 p.m. in this room. The next application is Erickson, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Daniel Erickson. The applicant is wanting to construct an additional accessory structure on the parcel. A variance of 106% to the zoning ordinance allows no more than 50% of the floor plan of the dwelling and accessory structures. The result of the variance would mean the tax parcel will have 159% and accessory structures to the 50% limit that the ordinance allows. The property is located at 201 Victoria Street, parcel 137L-0-35-099, .00025 through 28, and part 21 through 24, block 38, BSL Land and Improvement Company. The property is zoned R1 Single Family District. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Hi,
Can you
My
state
name-
your name and address for us?
my name is Sid Sandoz. I live at 200 Victoria, right across the street from the property that we're talking about, and I want to speak on behalf of the Erickson.
Okay, thank you.
I've been here since 1955, before they even had streets there, or houses, or houses. But I'd like to say, since I built my house there, the Canisius owned all of that with my grandmother. And since I built my house in 1978, 45 or so years, I've never had neighbors like the Erickson that want to actually take care of the property. I see what they're wanting to do, and they want to add a little storage unit and carport 24 by 24. I don't have any objection to it, and I personally went around the neighborhood and got signatures from 20-something of them that were available. I think I had 3 that was unavailable. If y'all want to.
Yes, can you pass that around? Caitlin, we haven't received this petition at all, in favor? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So the petition reads, this petition is for your approval for the Ericksons to add an additional accessory structure on their parcel. The structure would be on top quality used for storing things, which would help the looks of the property by eliminating clutter, and also used for storing an antique car. And I have about 12 signatures from Victoria Street, 7th Street, Steuby Street, 8th Street.
They're just trying to relieve some of the clutter, and yes, I wholeheartedly agree, and like I say, I spoke to everyone that was on the list that Caitlin gave me, and couldn't get in touch with 3, but everybody else signed approval.
So I'm not personally against them having a carport. What makes me so hesitant is it being detached in its own separate unit. And plus, we're going, what was it, 106% over? So what makes me hesitant is whenever we do these separate structures like we just saw, then we come back years from now and we ask to turn that into an accessory dwelling because it's already there. And I just feel like it needs to be attached to the main structure if we're going to be doing all these additions to the property. Is there a reason they don't want a carport storage attached to the house?
They got approximately, I think 6,200 square feet back there that they're not even using. And yes, they would, they have a driveway to it. They'd like to put it at the end of that driveway rather than attached. It would be difficult for it to attach because it's a small house. There's a pool in the backyard. It would be virtually impossible to do that.
Any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
And I don't know I know this is a little bit of different application. I don't think we've ever really been beside. I think we had one of these for a actual house size on lot coverage. So I don't know, just because I'm dealing with the zoning every single day. So if one has a dwelling, let's say 1,000 square foot, they can have a detached, like meaning shed or something along those lines, 500 feet, fine. If you have a house that's a dwelling that's 1,000 square feet and your carport, like most of ours or most people's, is attached to the house, the garage is attached to the house, that does not go against the accessory dwelling. So let's say you have 1,000 square foot house, a 700 square foot garage that's attached with the roof line, that doesn't count against the accessory dwelling. So what this, and I think there's a site plan that the applicant drew. They have the house that's, I think, 1,050 square feet. They have a carport-like structure, though it's not enclosed. For building department and zoning department, we just always assume it can be easily closed in. So that's an accessory dwelling. It's not attached. There's a little 300 square foot, almost possibly turned into a dwelling, but accessory structure in the back of that. The pool's not on there because we don't include that with accessory dwelling. We just don't do that lot coverage. But in the back is where the proposed one that would be on Keller Street. So you got 1,050 square feet, and then pretty much all the other buildings are going to start counting against it. It's pre-existing non-conforming from my gathering. He purchased it in the last year or two. It was already like that, but adding this, if let's God forbid, if everything was wiped clean, it wouldn't be able to get built back the way it currently even sits. So I don't know if that makes sense. Is you're allowed to have so much, and if it's attached to your house, it's not kind of like Ms. Dosher just said. It won't count against, and it would be allowed to be permitted. Once it got detached, that's the issue.
I mean, that's what scares me, because even if he sells his lot and it's there, then the next person can kind of turn that into a real, like, living quarters.
Because it's a small house, it's what he's saying, it can only be so many feet versus the house.
Right,
The
so
proposed-
the advantage Jeremy was saying would be to add to the main structure.
Yeah.
That would add to property value as well. I mean,
The proposed structure is only 576 square feet. It's about probably half the size
No,
of the
but I
house.
was just trying to clarify for what
Yeah.
Ms. Dosher just said, where adding on to the actual house that's main dwelling, that would, I guess, if you want to say allowed by right, that would not come before y'all. That would
Right.
be, hey, we're putting our garage onto our house. That wouldn't even come before you. That would be allowed if you want to say by right, but it will be. It would be.
I'm going to go through my audience list. Miss Kathleen Monty, 105 Sycamore. Mr. Sand, yeah, you want to sit down for a second? We're going to let everybody in the audience speak.
Good evening. I'm Kathleen Monty, 105 Sycamore Street, and the parcel next door, I am the mortgage holder on that piece of property. And I have 3 questions. Originally, it was our understanding that what was being built was to house an RV. So is it an RV or an antique vehicle being housed? And the reason why I'm asking that question, because what's important to me is height. If it's RV or actually anything else, I could not tell from the plans. They could, according to the plans, it looked like it was generic. If you built this size, then your height would be this size, your height would be this, on up to 20 feet. So that is why I'm asking, if it is an RV, what's the height of the RV? What would be the roof height of the accessory structure when finished? And what is the roof height of the current dwelling? So if
And Ms. Monty, I can't answer those questions. All I can answer is this is what was asked for, was the variance of there was not a variance asked for a variance of height of, so if it's, you're not allowed to build an accessory dwelling or accessory structure above the height of your roof. It's in our zoning book, but
bingo.
that wasn't asked.
That's my point. If it is an RV and if it exceeds, if he has to go up so high because the RV is big, then, would it be over the height of his house? And the reason why I'm asking that is if it's excessively high, then it's, you know, back there on the side of, the house where my daughter currently lives. So that's why I would like to have, you know, the answers to that if possible. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Sandos, can you answer that for us?
As he mentioned, no, the structure is not gonna be high. It would be big enough possibly to put a camper, which would be what, this high.
But will it be taller than the
House?
top of your, yes?
No,
Do you know what the height of the current house is with the roof?
it's pretty high.
I don't know.
I don't know,
I mean,
but
it just
anyway, that
looks
would,
small from the street view. It
but
looks like
any-
it's probably 8-foot ceiling heights. With
But-
Excuse me, I'm Daniel Erickson, the owner of the home. My camper is 18 foot. It's a travel trailer, and the total height of it is 9 foot 6 inches. The structure itself, the top peak will be 11 foot.
at the very
At the
peak
very
of the
top.
roof
Right,
of the accessory.
11 foot.
Okay. I do have, well, I have Susan Erickson signed up to speak.
yeah, that's his wife.
Okay. I figured there was relationship there. Anyone else in the audience for or against that application? Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? I'll entertain a motion.
I'm making a motion to deny.
Motion to deny by Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Agee. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Application fails. Please be present for the next city council meeting. Now have the final say. It's April 4th, Tuesday, 5:30 PM in this room. Next application is Curry. Application for special exception and variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Kenny and Allison Curry. The applicants are requesting a special exception to construct a detached accessory dwelling in the rear yard. If granted, the applicants will need a variance of 2,138 square feet, resulting in 12,862 square feet to the lot area required for an accessory structure, excuse me. The property is located at 522 Main Street, parcel 137H-0-45-076.004, part 1 and 2, rear 2nd Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zoned C2 Neighborhood Commercial District. Is the applicant here tonight? Would you state your name and address for us?
Kenny Curry. The address of 522 Main Street.
And the reason you're wanting an accessory dwelling versus just adding the square footage to your main home?
Well, because we both have aging parents, and we'll most probably be moving them in there.
Just for, it says C2 on here.
Yeah.
Just so for the record, if you go look at the zoning book, obviously setbacks are different and everything else. But since it's being used as a residence, just one of our caveats for that, you follow the residential setbacks, and one of the things it was accessory structure. Now, I think the question was asked to me earlier today, like, well, could he build a fourplex on it?
Yeah.
He could build a fourplex on
At a
it,
0-foot lot line,
but
right?
since he forthcoming
Yes.
that it's going to be living in it, he
It's gonna
came and
be
says, hey, it's
accessory-
not multifamily, it's going to be accessory dwelling. So I know it apparently caused confusing, but it's just they're going to be 8 foot off the side yard setbacks because that's what I said the residential one is.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
This is commercial property.
Yes.
Yes.
So looking at it from that standpoint for the, I guess, the accessory structure, I look at it as a little bit different than being in a residential neighborhood.
Same, because like Jeremy said, you could put a fourplex on there
Yeah.
by right. Yeah, so when we do residential, no matter what zone it goes in, which for better or for worse, how this is written, I kind of disagree a little bit that we shouldn't have to follow residential, but when you do, you have to go by those zoning setbacks. So those zoning setbacks are 8 foot on both sides, side yards, 25 foot in the front and 20 in the rear. But if he proceeded with a commercial structure, which he could do by right, because it's a C2, he would have 0 foot lot lines and could do multifamily housing by right.
But, ma'am, he's gonna be, and I don't remember, it's somewhere on there. So he's not, so your backyard would meet his backyard. It's not even gonna be that close, but he would be required to be 20 feet away from y'all's backyard regardless. I don't remember how close it is.
That was my next question, because it's not listed here, but it looks like it's probably
30
50
some,
feet.
it's closer to 50, yeah.
Yeah, it looks at least 40. If there's no other comments or questions from the commissioners, I'm gonna let the audience speak. I have Miss Kathleen Monty, 105 Sycamore Street. Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah.
Well, maybe let's just speak on it, because we're all having these same. I think everyone in the audience is gonna have these same questions too.
Probably gonna have to find what I sent you.
Oh, I got it. So I would like to also note that I'm aware that there is an application, another application on the PZ agenda for the Curry application for 522 Main Street, special exception and variance to construct an accessory dwelling on a parcel that is less than 15,000 square feet. However, this parcel is located in a C2 neighborhood commercial district rather than a residential zone. So I don't know if the square footage requirement for accessory dwelling is applicable or not to commercially zoned parcels. I realize that the property at 520 Main Street was approved back in June 2022 for a nearly identical scenario as the Currys. Any clarification for the future would be helpful to me.
Thank you.
That's kind of
That
where
was it?
yes. I think that's everybody's question when these come up, is because of like what we've been talking about with the commercial stuff, what you could be doing by right.
Yeah.
I don't know that the accessory minimum lot requirement should apply. We'll have to look at that
Okay,
in the
thank you.
zoning. Is it Eli Tollison? Ed Tollison, sorry. 524 Main Street.
I live next door, and one thing, I did not receive a notice of this.
It wasn't me. It was Caitlin.
I know.
No.
And I called it, okay? And I still ain't got one, but
I know, it happens, unfortunately, it just.
to me, our neighbor, I know it's commercial, but essentially it's residential. And we've been there 10 years now, love it. And we'd like to keep it as residential as we can. So I'm not really opposed, but I think that lot line just keeps going backwards. We had the same thing on the lot line. They own another lot. So put some accessory buildings on it if they need. I'm not even sure what that accessory means.
What the accessory dwelling means?
Is it? Yeah.
Means detached from the house, that's gonna be living quarters.
And it can be anything?
It can't be a business or anything like that without permission.
But it
It's
can
being-
be any kind of building? Open, carport, unattached?
They're asking for this to be a separate, dwelling, living quarters.
Like the mother-in-law suite next door?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just, thinking we need to keep it more residential than commercial. What it is.
Just a point of information, 503 North 72nd Street, Arkansas 72450. That is, okay, that's where it was.
It went to Arkansas.
And I called.
Okay, Mr. John Buffkin. Like to come speak?
My name's John Buffkin. I live at 521 St. John Street. I don't understand what's going where. My back porch, I'm looking at a mother-in-law's house. I mean, I sit on my back porch every morning.
So is your question what's gonna be going on the lot,
Yeah,
or
and
where
what
is
do-
it
what do you
located in
want a
relation
variance
to
for?
you?
What's the variance
The
on?
variance is for them to have a mother-in-law suite in the rear of the residential home they're
Just like
constructing.
the other guy. Okay.
Yes, it'll be, they provided some pictures, I don't know if you've seen,
No, I
just
didn't.
examples of, what, did you see a site plan?
No.
Oh,
Sir? That's the main house. This is gonna be the guest house. Similar, so.
no.
Oh, do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, originally when we came up here, there wasn't gonna be mother-in-law houses.
So, and it, that's the main, this is,
I believe he did, yeah.
Okay, it's gonna be how far this was. You understand that?
On the lot that's already mother-in-law, so it's gonna be two mother-in-law houses, or is Ramm.
Yeah.
That's what I thought might be happening.
You know,
No, it threw me when he said he wanted.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak for or against the application? Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move in favor of it.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Agee, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
May.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Please be present at the next city council meeting, Tuesday, April 4th at 5:30 PM. Okay, the next application is City of Bay St. Louis, application for text amendment to the zoning ordinance, Article 3, Section 623, Chart of Uses. The text amendment to the zoning ordinance will amend the chart of uses to change parking lot in R1 residential single family, R-1A residential single family, R-2 residential two family, R3 multifamily, R4 beachfront residential, R5 open beach, R5A residential, C1 central business district, C2 neighborhood commercial, C3 highway commercial, OC office clinic, I1 planned industrial, I2 limited industrial, CD casino district, RD Resort District, W1 Waterfront, W2 Waterfront, W3 Waterfront Yacht Club District to be allowed by S, may be allowed by special exception with approval of City Council.
all right, so let me speak on this, see if there's any questions. So, just like I think we've amended it one or two times in the last year, but City Council, I believe, put a moratorium on issuing new privilege license for paid parking lots, the actual parking lot that is the business, not, a parking lot to, that's with that's just with a business. So, they put a moratorium on it, but why they put a moratorium is they want to amend the chart of uses, as it was said, to make it that all zoning districts would have to put a planning and zoning application in to ask for permission to use the piece of property as a paid parking lot. So the chart of use that's in our zoning book, everything that is currently an R, which is on a few of them, that would revert to an S, which would be special exception. There'd be no more allowed by right. And then everything that's blank as indicated by the city council, they want zoning districts to be allowed by special exception also, because they said all zoning districts. So, the parking lot itself is not, whenever we have, 315 Main Street, the KC Hall, that were coming, that was one I talked about, variance of parking spots. That's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about a piece of property that's gonna be used as the business of a paid parking lot. That's what the city council would like to have it, so a property owner, potential property would have to come and ask and say, hey, y'all are going to have to come ask planning and zoning and city council permission to have it. Now, some of the things that, it's kind of a new thing, some tweaking, but the parking lot to a building, sometimes it has landscape. There's some stuff that is definitely, the business itself is the part that it's gonna have to be approved, not necessarily a parking lot that's attached to a required business.
So, but my problem is, it doesn't read paid parking lot. So what if you have a business, like the hotel did, and they own all these different parcels, and they want to use it as parking lot for their business, but it's still a separate parcel, but they're not getting any revenue from it?
So
how are you distinguishing the difference?
So that's some of the greater, because there's obviously
it needs
case in point. Currently, Hancock Whitney Bank has a parking lot on Main Street behind their bank.
Mm-hmm.
They use it for customers. In the evening time, they would like to get some revenue off of it, but basically have parking management on it. Them having the parking lot for the bank, probably not the greatest example, but they can have the parking lot for the bank, or sometimes we require the parking lot from the bank. It would be them having those parking lots that say, hey, instead of closing off our parking spots tonight, we'll let it be used to the public, but, it's going to be paid parking. They would need to come before y'all and say, hey, can we go have a paid?
Hancock Bank, to get permission to charge for after hours, would have to come get that permission, even though the parking lot's on their lot already?
Essentially, yeah. So.
Well, I don't like that, because you're being like a proact. Yeah, well, I think you're being proactive. It depends on it's going to depend on where you are, because you're going to get all the overflow from everybody else because no one wants to pay the parking. So you're going to get everybody in your lot. That's not fair, that your liability and everything is increased and you're not getting any revenue from it when everyone's already being allowed. And it doesn't address anything specifically. Well, like, I think I don't want there to be a gray area where everybody turns their, everyone has to get permission to have parking if they own a separate lot, but it's helping ease the congestion even if they own a parking lot further away.
Because currently, Bay St. Louis has, before everything came in, your true paid parking lots, like probably more true paid parking lots than everything would be. I don't want to miss any, but by the railroad tracks on the OLG side, they have a parking lot on the north side and they have a parking lot on the side. Both of those both have privilege license. Court Street and Beach Boulevard, that one has a privilege license. Main Street and 2nd Street, they have a privilege license.
What about the Methodist church?
The Buttercup parking lot has a privilege license. They have a tax ID number with it. Everything else, they have an actual privilege license. No, the Methodist church.
Because what if it gets so bad and now OLG's been granted the privilege license, but now you won't grant it to
Well, let's say no, OLG does not have it. It's the one that's right next to OLG.
Oh, okay.
But Stanislaus does.
But you know what I'm saying?
State Stanislaus does not have a privilege license.
This should have been addressed before all these parking lots came in.
Yes, ma'am.
Because now we're creating a bigger problem.
Doesn't parking services charge?
They applied for one. They have applied for one, but it was not issued. The moratorium the moratorium came in place before the privilege license.
Then my other question is, so will we not be allowed to put in parking meters if it comes down to it?
I mean,
I just, there's too many, there's too many loopholes I see people using right now.
I believe, and I can't speak. for
I want a
council,
moratorium on it till we figure it out, but I just don't think it's.
But no, I guess that's the request was made by the council to amend the zoning ordinance to make parking lots, but as our definition of parking lot, these are paid parking lots because it's charter uses as special exception.
So parking lots are they're not defined though as paid in the definition in the zoning book.
So does that,
We're gonna open up another can of worms.
so does that mean if OLG decides to have a parking event for cruising the coast or something, they have to get a permit for that?
That'd probably be a Department of Revenue question.
I think they should have a permanent.
They probably would. They probably would.
Anytime
I'm
you're
just
selling
assuming they might turn in a special event permit. I don't know. I couldn't answer that. That does not go through the zoning department in any shape, form, or fashion. But
Even
it's a
though
legitimate. It's a
even though
legitimate question. Yeah,
Even though it's a non-profit organization?
legitimate question. I mean they have never turned in. I will take the orders the way they want, but I mean I guess it's.
I mean, I'm just
no.
I'm wondering.
If the city council says it's a business, they need to come and have a business privilege license in order to operate that. I guess it would, but no. I mean, I think they're all. It's the discussion probably should needed to be brought up because whenever these started popping up, originally we were flying the theater pants, just trying to carpet the book in order to make it fit the issue. Now this is the solution that was proposed.
It's lipstick on a pig right now. We gotta go address all these questions. I feel like we could be digging a bigger hole for ourselves in the future. I'm not for all the paid parking. I don't like seeing it either, but I just think this is gonna open up new problems. It needs to be defined at least in the code book.
Well, and once again, a parking lot that's attached to a business that will require it's a different set of rules than a parking lot.
But you're saying they still can't throw up signs in charge after hours if they wanted to.
I don't believe.
Is that by permission? Yes. And my issue is everybody around them gets that privilege because they jumped on it first, and now they have to suffer the consequences. I don't think that's healthy either.
Yeah, because currently as it stands, like Central Business District is where all of them are, and it's allowed by right. And the guidance would be parking lots should be paved to provide durable dustless surface, to dispose all surface waters, lights, and whenever those site plans have been turned in, basically, say, let me see your parking, let me go see your aisles, they require some landscaping, small, but a lot of times it's discretionary. Some generally makes sense. Whenever you have a actual parking lot attached to a building, they have a larger set of rules for it. You have a buffer if it's a residential neighborhood and everything else.
I agree with Amy. I think the proposal needs to say paid parking lot.
Yeah, but I don't think that's even the right term. We're gonna have to say
Parking lot for revenue.
yeah, that's a
Parking
entrepreneurial.
Well, and then
paid parking.
I'm writing down our comments.
And then I guess some of the issues is if you have a hotel, you have a parking lot, you have an asset, but like at a certain point, it's the cost. It's kind of like it's part of doing business. Whenever you have a football stadium and you have a high school football game, they're coming in every Friday night or whatever. Many of them, I don't know if locally here, they go collect, $5 to park the Little League field. They go collect $5 to park. Where does that necessarily fall in? If it's not cruising the coast, that's annual, and it's, I think many times Little League ones on the weekend, that's one of the things they go charge almost a gate admission to get in there. Like that's one of the questions of truly, I don't know where it fall. I don't think that would be intent. I think it's more of, having a set of rules, knowing who the property owners are, but
So with what you just said, if they were having a Little League game, they would have to have a permit to park cars too.
well,
Because what's good for one is good for all.
I don't know, yeah, like, almost one of the things that standard loan are, I think we all agree, my just personal opinion, Bay St. Louis has a lot of parking spots. Sometimes they're not close, but probably more likely Bay St. Louis has a bigger walking issue than they do a parking problem, because many times my car is very lonely in the parking garage. Nobody ever parks there.
No, I agree 100%. There's a walking problem here, but
But-
what I disagree with is the other businesses and personal places having to absorb that liability because downtown's already paid parking and now they are not allowed to do it. More than likely, they wouldn't vote for them to be allowed to do it elsewhere, and now everybody's going over to them.
Yeah, like there's,
that's the part that's not fair to me.
because
No, I think there's plenty of parking. I think people don't use the parking garage and all that. What needs to happen is we need to revoke what's already been granted or grandfathered in. That's the only way to solve the problem.
and then, and I guess,
And can you do that? Probably not.
so,
What do you want us to do?
I don't know if y'all want
We're
to.
gonna have to vote on it.
Can
Wait,
it be?
can
It's gonna.
Is anybody here to speak? Can we see if, I want to hear everybody's opinion. We have,
That's either
I don't
good or
think any
bad.
of us know. I don't know. It's too vague. I'd
So-
like to have an immediate reaction to this, but that was like stop, halt everything, but then you can't because now you're not changing it for the better, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the objective in this, is to quit getting them from popping up on all these vacant lots, of
So-
course, but
I guess this is just my assumption. It's not, there's not been that much dialogue besides, hey, we want to make it by special exception to all. So, but let me just say some of the flaws. So, all your paid parking lots that are currently now, being the ones I've named off, they have a individual sales tax ID number. They remit their 7% to the state of Mississippi every time you go whenever whatever it's 3 hours to park, $6, whatever, next to nothing. That 7% is going to the state. As of right now, they're not, anything that's a parking lot that even, I'm just gonna use the Bay Waveland School District parking lot currently, I think they leave it open. If they ever choose to say, you know what, as Ms. Dosher said, there's a true liability to let people park on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday in our parking lot because somebody might trip and fall and sue. We're gonna go and block it off. Or probably the alternative would be, we're gonna get I'm just gonna use, because it's the one that does them everywhere, is Premier Parking. We're gonna go get an agreement with them so they can charge for parking, and then I think frankly probably they make a little bit and probably take a little bit of the liability off of them as opposed to, because it's much harder to insure a piece of lot or piece of property that somebody can jump the curb and jump on. Now, some of the stuff as a building department and zoning department that we're requiring now that we didn't require when we first did it is the dust list of parking lots.
so asphalt paved.
So originally, it was, one got paved, some of them were limestone, like the one on Court Street and Main Street. They came in, we always required handicap ones to be paved. The other ones, people have been parking there for years, but now, if that would come back before, I'd be willing to bet zoning planning would not go and allow and say no. Asphalt the whole thing. The ones that are coming on now, the last one we permitted because they were in before the moratorium happened was the Buttercup one. They have an asphalt parking lot, but we made them go in and fix the potholes and craters in it before that privilege license was allowed. Made them so they couldn't just fill it in with rock. They had to go and do an actual patchwork, do the correct striping and everything else. So I'm just saying internally, Bay St. Louis
So
live
does
in
that
Mar-
read that if it becomes a strictly paid parking, that it has to be paved in some way? Does it read like that? Because we need to add that as well, probably.
Well, it's gonna be a dustless surface.
Does, is that in there, the dustless surface?
Currently by right, the ones that are allowed by right, is a note, and it says, look at note 8. It says a correctly lighted, dustless surface. Deal is, once it rains,
They're not lighted either.
they have enough lighting from, we allow people to go use lighting from the sidewalk and whatever. If you have a big old parking lot, the ones in New Orleans, like the one by the Riverwalk, they couldn't use the ones that are on Convenience Center Boulevard. They have to actually put lights in there. Majority of our parking lots in Bay St. Louis, the ones that are by OOG, they do have lights in those parking spots, the one that it's paved on the north side.
The one that's on the south side's not lighted.
But it's lighted
It's enough ambient light from
it's
the
enough lights
street light.
from the street lights, so it wouldn't, at a certain point, I guess.
Well,
Yeah, what's the
you gotta have
minimum?
it's gotta be cut and dry. Have lights or not have
Yeah,
lights.
well,
No,
no, what's the minimum lumen requirements? Yeah.
No, but I guess the deal is if they didn't have street lights there, they would probably have to go put up a pole. But
Because ultimately, what we're trying to do is
the
disallow anybody from getting around any of these rules in the future. So let's set it up the best way possible for ourselves, to
Yeah, but-
where nobody can skirt these things and say, "Oh, well, there's a street light 120 feet away. That counts." Like, who says it counts?
we look at it with the building and zoning department.
But then it's subjective, and whenever you leave something subjective, and then the first precedent gets set, and the next neighbor does it, and the next neighbor does it. So that's why I have the problem with it.
You gotta remember, what's good for one is good for all.
Yeah, no, so,
And that's what I struggle with sitting up here.
yeah.
Is we have to be fair and level with everything we do. And there's a lot of times that we're not. No offense to any of the commissioners up here.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't apply things like they should be applied.
No, and I guess lighting, depending on what neighborhood it's in or where it would be allowed, is depending what lighting you would want. I'm just gonna use because it's who they want it. The lighting that would be required for one in the central business district, might be different than if it's allowed in R3, which would be St. Stanislaus's current student parking lot. To say that you want big old bright lights next to a residential neighborhood, that would probably not fly.
So let me ask you this, if that parcel that the student lot sits on is a different parcel from the school, are they allowed to use it as a parking lot even though they're not charging the students?
I think,
Then we create another problem. Students have to park somewhere, and
But
they're gonna
once-
go park downtown.
but once again, it's my opinion, and not this, is there's some lots that are, it's just the part of operating a parking lot. Bay High School probably sits in an R1 district, but they have a student parking lot that they charge for, I'm assuming probably parking passes for. St. Stanislaus charges $25 for a student parking decal. That's allowed because it's part of doing business. I guess the gray area, truly but what's the difference in say, hey, on a Saturday, you have Crab Fest overflowing parking, let's go and, instead of getting a club to go and charge parking, let's go and have parking management, get an agreement with the parking management system.
But then you're saying you may not be allowed to do that, and it's gonna create a serious problem when summer camp's going on and it's Crab Fest.
Yeah, because
And they're not allowed, there's no way to really block it off. Or police it.
yeah, I know.
There's a way to block it off, but there's no way to police it. I mean, everyone just gets up and moves the cones. Same thing for Methodist Church, anything down there. They're not gonna be able to protect themselves.
So, granted, I'm just putting the application, but yeah, I think.
We just threw you under the bus.
Shoot the messenger.
No, I just put the application from, but yes, you're correct. What would happen if all these parking lots, that's 130 Main Street, the Baptist Church, which have been great stewards to Bay St. Louis for years for allowing it to use cruising the coast and everything else.
Yeah.
Mockingbird, Century Hall. What if they all of a sudden went and just say, hey,
That's why
nobody's
you're gonna
ever
tick
parked-
everybody off, and then they're gonna quit doing that.
So, and then all you'd be left is a parking garage, street parking in a handful of.
Yeah, which is fine for a Saturday night, but not for cruising the coast and major events.
Well, not even, but not even cruising the coast, just for big
Right.
weekend, 4th of July weekend.
4th of July, the big
Easter weekend, there's gonna be cars parked in front of every single parallel parking spot in Old Town, and they'll be looking for places to park.
Yeah, Carroll Avenue will be undrivable.
I think Miss Monty wants to say something.
Yes, ma'am. I'm writing down notes, so okay.
But just as an opinion, someone who lives at 105 Sycamore Street, which is actually facing Beach Boulevard, and we own a lot across the street on Beach Boulevard from our house. The more paid parking you have downtown, you are pushing all these other cars into residential areas, and that's why I now have private property signs on that lot across the street from us. And I really didn't want to do that, but there it is, because we were having to deal with people on the weekends who just, think it's public land and park up in front because they don't want to go somewhere else and pay for parking. And here's Washington Street over here with a full area where they could have parked, but no, they're going to park right there. And then the other part of it is, just this past week, we were eating at one of the restaurants in the Old Depot area. The restaurant was packed, and one of the people that I knew that was there, she said, "Isn't it wonderful that only the locals know about this and we all come here to eat?" And I said, "We're all here because we don't have to pay to park. And the food is good, but we don't want to go and fight downtown. Seriously, we don't want to go downtown and fight and pay to park downtown." At one time before Katrina, there were at least 3 or 4 good restaurants within walking distance of our house. And Depot area was one of them, and we could walk there. But now it's probably the only area where there's not, you can go to a restaurant and not have to pay to park. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
In an empty garage.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the empty garage.
Okay, well,
I think
if
we're
we
getting
beat a
down
dead
rabbit
horse,
hole. Yeah.
should we vote on it?
I mean, I guess if there's,
I'll put on my thoughts in a
So can
email.
it be
to the powers
tabled
that
until some of the things are worked
well,
out?
here's the deal, if y'all vote on it, it's just a recommendation body.
Yeah.
I want to say that
That
what
city
probably would be the best thing is you go say, hey, I want to make it, I deny.
No, I'm gonna send them all a letter with all of the thoughts that came up tonight and what needs to be
Ask
addressed.
them to go back to the table.
Yeah.
I think we table it.
I'll
Well,
second
is it
that.
better to table it or vote it down?
Don't you have the option to do that?
Because vote it down, because we're gonna have to rewrite it anyway. There's no
Yeah.
point in tabling it.
And if you vote it down, it's still going to be able to get discussed in there. They can say, hey, they know
Yeah,
what they're
it's
talking
still-
about. But I'd be willing to bet y'all's opinion from the crowd, whatever else, is going to be something different. I guess my personal opinion is, it's if we have a high enough entry point that we require things to be paved, striped correctly, the paved parking lots are going to solve itself. Nobody's going to want to go.
They're not gonna go pay 20, 30 grand to go pay the.
We've had applications before the moratorium that they've asked for permits to basically do a grass lot, and we said, no, you're gonna have to go pave it. So we have a not high enough entry point that you say, hey, it has to be a paved parking lot, asphalt or concrete, not crushed concrete. That's probably something that's gonna solve a lot of the ones that just popping up. That allows, your Hancock Banks, your Hancock Insurance Building, I don't know what it's called now, that on the backside to get their permit. They probably suffice it. They just have to get the tax ID number to us so we can issue a permit. But then that would also mean that grass lot on the 100 block of Main Street, they're not gonna have a paid parking lot unless they go and roll up, put a base, roll out asphalt, and chances are the numbers probably do not work. I'm just assuming.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, no, well, the So. Anything that's a lot.
Is there a way to like stop any new applications until we decide what we want to do?
Well, no, we've gotten applications.
We're not allowing anything until we decide what we want to do, right, as a city?
Yeah, like, we have applications.
For more paid parking lots right now?
Some that are, no, we have some that would be, I have like the Hancock Bank.
Right.
That's in there. I think I have a St. Stanislaus one that's in there. They're not gonna have a decision made until there's something that comes in
So
place.
we can wait, we can have time to like really think about it and write it with all the little recommendations that we want.
Yeah, whatever that may be. And if it's, and once again, the entry point's gonna be, from what's in, it's gonna be more costly to get into the market of having a parking lot.
Yeah, but what's gonna happen is someone's gonna own their own company and they're gonna be able to make the numbers work, so.
Okay, well, and I'll give you one example. Mr. Shane Bernard's piece of property.
Yeah.
Before he bought it, and before it went on the market, we got an application for that to become a paid parking lot the way it was. Where everybody's been parking that for years, but they were gonna make it a paid parking lot. We told them, you have to actually pave it, you're gonna have to stripe it, and it was gonna be like probably 12 parking spots. Once we told them that, of what's gonna be in there.
Yeah, because then it prevents you from doing anything in the future because you have to break up the asphalt and everything.
But also, I think it was I was just assumption that it would help pay the taxes on the property. Once we said, it's not soon after we said you're not gonna have it, that thing went on the market and it went back in commerce. So I think my opinion is having the high entry, the way I think would solve the problem, if they wanna have a paid parking lot and they wanna go and get it asphalt, get it striped, it's gonna cost so much. You're not just gonna be able to afford to buy a piece of property to do it. But on the same token, they've never asked, but I'm just gonna say a large parking spot that's on Main Street right now, it's the Baptist Church parking lot. If they say, hey guys, you know what, we would like to have a little bit of control over our parking lot, so nobody's gonna be able to park there on Sunday morning when we need it.
Right.
We're gonna get it with a contract, so it's gonna be paid parking, but once at a certain time, y'all do the parking management, I don't think that's a bad plan. I really don't. Same thing with
that's a bad plan, but it's like I'm saying, it's subjective because they may grant it for the Baptist church, but then not grant it for UMC for whatever reason.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
If Our Lady of the Golf says,
Yeah, or they may, yeah.
If Our Lady of the Golf says, you know what, Monday through Friday, if anybody can park there, but Saturday and Sunday, we need our parking spot for our parishioners. So it is not going to be a paid parking spot. If you see one that's paved there and the tag's not registered, y'all go and do what y'all need to do. You know what? It has a way of actually having paid parking lots has a way of solving some issues. Like I'm sure Mr. Osborne said, there's probably masses, funeral functions there that parishioners don't have a parking spot at their own charge because it's overflow parking from Old Town.
Actually, there's signage up that says that it's not to be used, it's a towaway zone.
Yeah.
We've never enforced that.
Shh, don't say that on the radio.
But, well, I mean, I'm just telling you.
But UMC is probably not either, and neither is the Baptist church, but don't tell.
So they're not supposed to be parking there to begin with.
Everybody's watching going, oh, I know where I'm parking. Yeah.
I mean, well, they park there anyway. So.
Yeah.
And we have 4 paid parking events a year. I mean,
yeah.
I'll be transparent with what we do. And we're nonprofit, so.
Well.
We have.
Yeah.
Nobody on the Mississippi Gulf Coast has paid parking anywhere. They just don't. New Orleans they don't really honestly address it, period. Like they don't. Ma'am, would you go to the microphone?
Like Savannah?
Yeah, go to Coastal Living and pull up like the top 20 coastal places and find something that is similar to what we have in Bay St. Louis, which has become a highly tourist-driven area. And just start going onto their websites and see how are they dealing with parking, and then kind of look and see which ones you want to pick and choose from those. It's going to be a little bit labor intensive, but right now you're just kind of like, well, we don't like this, we don't like this, and you want to have a guideline that's going to give you you all control over what's going on, instead of a developer looking at how can I get through these loopholes, and who's my buddy on a commission, or can I get all my friends to come and say yes. You want to be able to determine what is going to be best for your growth, and still protect the churches that are downtown so they can do what they need to do. Because, I mean, if you have a funeral on a Saturday or a wedding on a Saturday at the Methodist Church, forget it. You're going to be parking on St. John Street and cutting through the cemetery.
Yeah.
I mean, because I see it all the time. But I think that would be, helpful, because you have some really warranted concerns, and that way you're not starting with a blank sheet of paper, and then you can send, as a planning and zoning, this is something that you all as a commission agree with, like you think this is sounds pretty sound, and then have the city attorney kind of look at it and see what the legal liability is, and then send that back, because then that way you've got a little more control over what it is that you really want, because you have some valid concerns and you want to be able to tighten that up.
I like that a lot. Okay, do we want to vote on it?
I'll make a motion to table it.
No, well,
You-
we want to
okay,
address it
then
because you're going to have to
deny
rewrite it.
All right,
Yep.
then deny it.
Support.
A motion to deny by Mr. Osborne, second by Mr. Agee. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Amendment fails. We got another amendment.
Oh, we do.
I like this one. I don't see loopholes in this one. City of Bay St. Louis application for text amendment to the zoning ordinance, Article 3, Section 623, Chart of Uses. The text amendment to the zoning ordinance will amend the chart of uses to change mini storage warehouse in C3 Highway Commercial District from R allowed by right to S may be allowed by special exception with approval of City Council.
All right, so currently charter uses in C3 Highway Commercial, so Highway 90, 603, Longfellow, a little bit off of, you're allowed to have a mini storage / warehouse by right. Basically, so if somebody wants to build, instead of coming through here with just a site plan, they're gonna say, hey, this is the piece of property I want, and I wanna build mini storage or warehouses. Put a special exception here and say, hey, this is my property, and commissioners say yes or no, we think that's a good spot for it, and then city council has the same. I think it would probably protect some stuff that would probably be more conducive to true retail and housing, opposed to, not, it's revenue generating, ad valorem tax gaining, but not job creating structures.
Gotcha. Do we have any discussion?
I think it's a good idea.
Me too.
It was all me.
Good job. Very good.
I move we accept it. Support.
Motion to approve by Mr. Romano, second by Mr. Agee. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Hold on, where's my sheet? Well, next we'll vote on approval of the minutes. Was that the last thing? Motion to approve the minutes from last meeting. I lost my agenda.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Weber. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Last agenda item is motion to adjourn. Mr. LeBlanc's not here.
I'll move we adjourn, subject to the call of the chair.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.